Hello, my name is Keith Folk. I'm the Digital Media Services Supervisor for the Joliet Public Library in Joliet, Illinois. Today we are doing a veterans interview with Arbender Buddy Robinson, who was a U.S. Marine from 1972 to 1976. And I should add, once a Marine, always a Marine. Okay, thanks, buddy. All right, so we have some questions here for you, and I really appreciate you coming in today. Some biographical details. So, where and when were you born?
I was born actually in Irvine County, Georgia, in 1955, of January 24th, 1955. Yep, in County, Georgia.
Who are or were your parents, and were their occupations? What did they do for a living?
My parents were basically farmers, worked the fields, stuff like that. I grew up working in the fields too, as a youngster, picking cotton, working in tobacco, peanuts, you name it. We was farmers,
Who are your siblings? Names and genders.
Yeah, I have one older brother, deceased. Other than that, I have a brother, Joseph Robinson. He's also a vet. He served in the Army. He's 59. He just turned 60. And I have another brother. Well, after him is my sister. My sister is 58, 59, somewhere like that. And I have another brother, Tony Ray Gavin. He's 47, I want to say. Another brother, DeAndre Gavin. He's 40. These are my younger siblings. He's 45. Tony and DeAndre was both born here in Joliet. The other of my siblings and myself was all born in Georgia. All born at home, no hospital. Except the last two. They was born here at Silver Cross Hospital.
Did any of your family members serve in the military besides you?
Only my brother that's next to me. The one that's 60. He did serve in the military. He served in the U.S. Army. I think that was within, let's say 75. I think 75 through 78 in the U.S. Army.
Okay. Now the next topic is the early days of service. In which branch of the military did you serve?
I served in the U.S. Marine Corps.
What war did you serve in?
It was during the Vietnam era. Yes.
Did you choose that specific branch of the military?
I did.
Okay, so you joined the Marines?
I joined the Marines. Yes.
And why?
Actually, I always felt that, even as a kid growing up on the farm and everything, I felt that if I ever had a chance to serve my country, to be a part of it all, but not just a bystander, I actually wanted to have a hand in making sure that we had our freedom. Everything like that. I was always impressed about what servicemen did for our country and everything, And I always said, I felt like I should do my share as an American, This is a great country. It's a great privilege to be an American. And to me, to actually serve the country in some way, some form or fashion, was always something that I always just felt was basically my duty as an American.
What was your highest rank that you achieved in the Marines?
My highest rank was actually Lance Corporal. Not very high, but I was a private for a long time, actually. Then private first class, and then Lance Corporal. That's the highest rank.
Uh, were you a Guard member or active military?
I was active military for altogether about a year, active, and then I was a reservist. Serving here in Joliet, actually. I started out with the 14th Marine Division, which is a station in Okinawa. I trained, and I was part of the 14th Marine Division. And then when I came into the reserves, I served here for the remainder of those years. The Marine Corps Center out on McDonald Street out there, heavy artillery. That's what my MOS. My MOS was heavy artillery. Even though I was a rifle expert, my MOS was heavy artillery.
What kind of guns, howitzer?
Yeah, the 109 Hollinger, the 105 tote that you tow behind the trucks, the 155 millimeter, those are the huge ones, you know. Yeah, those. Yeah.
Do you recall your first days in the service?
Yes. Actually, you'll never forget your first day in boot camp, okay? Because, you know, you're thinking about one thing, and you think about what you see on TV, and it's kind of glamorous or what have you. Not so much when you step off that plane in San Diego, you know. That's where I went to boot camp in San Diego, California. I stepped off a plane, and it was like double time right away. Hurry, hurry, and, you know, the shouting and the yelling and the up in your face and this and that. Which I found it quite fascinating. I mean, you know, I wasn't offended. It really was, boot camp was a learning experience. I thought it was fun, actually. A lot of people really hated boot camp. Just, oh, boot camp's of everything. When you going through it and you're training, and physically it's challenging. It is. And mentally it's challenging, you know. It's like breaking you down to build you back up, sort of thing. But once you walk across that stage and you earn the privilege to say, I am a Marine, it's worth it all, you know. The feeling, the pride, and the discipline that I got out of it. I mean, I really appreciate the discipline, you know. My mom, she was a great disciplinarian. She believed in discipline. But basically, she was a single mom, raising boys. It wasn't that easy, you know. Of course, I was never really rude, child, never, what do you call it, disobedient or anything like that. But that discipline that I got in the Marine Corps, it's like gave me a lot of endurance, you know, motivated me, and I felt good being at a state of readiness to serve my country at any time, however I could. But I knew I was in heavy artillery, so I said, okay, this I'll be serving my country. I was a rifle expert. I said, okay, this I'll be serving my country. But it doesn't really matter so much what your MOS is. To serve, in my opinion, is a privilege.
All right. And you went to basic training in San Diego.
San Diego, California.
Okay. And what did you learn in basic training makes you question everything you knew before you joined?
Quite a bit. I question, actually, that's a good question. But as a Marine Corps recruit, okay, I learned as far as I was expecting it to be kind of like the John Wayne movies. Okay? Not so. Looking at it from a distance and not feeling it is one thing. When you feeling the pain of it, I mean, because we were doing things like running up the mountain, big hills, with our foot lockers on our backs and getting halfway and then told to come back down and halfway go back up. The sweat of your brow. You know what I'm saying? It was a bit intense. Rolling around in the sand, the 15-mile walks, the 3-mile runs. But I loved it because I was physically in better shape than I'd ever been in. Because before I was in the Marine Corps, I must admit, I wasn't used to pushing myself that much. I do something, get a little tired, I stop. But I found out that I could run, get tired, and some kind of way, it's almost like you get a second wind. And it's almost like you resting as you running. Now, I don't know if that makes sense, but somebody's going to say, that's a lot of running you guys have to do. When do you rest? Say, you know what? I rest in between my strides as left foot comes down, right foot coming. I'm resting. Now I rest while it's almost like you feel like you can do it forever. It's like you just keep running and run on. I love that feeling. It's something that it's an experience I'll never forget. And they say once a Marine, always a Marine. I would like to think, even at my age now, at 63, that if it came down to it and I had to, our country was under attack or anything like that, I think I would be ready to step up and do my share to protect. Sometimes we take for granted little things and the freedoms that we have, but that's somebody out there. That's somebody actually sacrificed so that we could do these things that we're doing now. I see a lot of young people out here doing a lot of things that's not very good and everything, you know what I'm saying? Somebody sacrificed so that they have the right to actually, in a sense, to do those things, When I think about that, and I look back on my life, I said, I'll always be grateful that I did serve in the military, and it's just about, I guess, nobody really would want to fight a war if a war broke out. But let's face it, somebody would have to, wouldn't they? So, yep. And I don't know if, I imagine now today's military has changed a lot from what it was during the Vietnam era, I noticed, I was talking to a young fella a few weeks ago, and he was telling me that his boot camp is totally not, it's still disciplined, still strict, but it's different. Technology is different. Everything is different nowadays, I imagine even the artillery that we were using, some of it is probably almost obsolete. I don't know, but, yeah.
Do you recall any of your instructors?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Sergeant Ortega. Sergeant Miller. There was so many.
What were they
Drill
like?
instructor, love it. The way he wrote boys brim and come at you, and it was like, I think about these people and still dream about these people sometimes, in life, because there was a great influence in my life, and it was like, even though they were rough, hard on me, yelling at me, calling me every name they could think of, and I'm in the sand, I'm in the water, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you know, I'm running, I'm sweating. I admired these guys. Because at my age, at what, 17 and 18 years old, and I'm looking at these guys in about 30s, upper 30s or 40s, and I'm like, oh, well, this is going to be a piece of cake. And you get out there and you start running, and it's like these people, it's like they were machines. These old guys could, I mean, and they were all Vietnam combat vets. And the stories that they would tell, you know, and I mean, man, it was really something. I remember those guys. Sometimes I wonder about the people that were in boot camp with, the people I served with, you know, the drill instructors and everything. Sometimes I wonder, what are they doing now, you know? Are they still alive, you know? Stuff like that. So it's something I never forget. I never forget those guys, you know. Yep.
So what did you do after basic training? Leave, more training, first
Yes.
assignment?
Yes, I went into more training. After basic training, that's when I went to artillery school. Was after basic training, yeah, it's a great experience. I mean, I even once in a while I would run across one of the sergeants or something from boot camp, and it was great. You know, it's like buddy then. It's like, you know, okay, it's like, yeah, I was kind of hard on you, but you know, I was hard on you because I wanted you to succeed and everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, it was School of Artillery, and those are only two MOSs I had: rifle expert and artillery. 0800. Yeah, that was MOS.
And what does MOS stand for?
It's your military occupation. What you're gonna do, you know, what you do. You know, everybody has an MOS. You know, you got 0800, 0811. Then you got the people. You got the what we call grunts, which were ground pounders, whatever you want to call it. But those are the comeback soldiers, the ones that's on feet all the time. Oh, those guys really. I admire those guys, though. You know. Yeah. Even though the Marine Corps boot camp is the Marine Corps boot camp is actually 3 months long. It's the longest of them all. Because you do AIT training too, advanced infantry training. Gas chamber. I never will forget the gas chamber. Oh my God. That was an experience, you know. That was a scary experience, actually. Because when you breathe and you feel like you can't take another breath, like it's going to be the last one, like you're choking, and like you can't get any air in. And then they want you to recite, tell them your name, rank, and serial number. You know, without you trying to do that and breathe at the same time. But oh my God, it was something.
Was this tear gas?
Yes, tear gas. Yeah, they march into a room. Let some tear gas go, and at first you think it's going to be a piece of cake because you know you got your mask on. And it's like, okay, cool. But then when it's come time, it's okay. Mask off. It's like, yeah.
So how did you adapt to military life, including the physical regiment, barracks, food, and social life?
I adapted well. It wasn't hard for me. I mean, I had no problem adapting, you know. I thought I would when I went in because, believe it or not, I was a bit skeptical because I was kind of a shy individual and didn't have a lot of friends that I hung around with. I was kind of a loner. So at first I was concerned about how would I do in the military, you know. Um, but I remember I was in Job Corps because I went to Job Corps when I was 16. And I was coming from Morganfield, Kentucky, and I was headed back to Joliet for Christmas. And the bus stopped over in St. Louis. And I was transferred to the bus, but I had about 2 hours, whatever. And I met a young man. He was a Marine. And he started talking to me and telling me about the Marines and this and that and everything. And I was so impressed, you know. I mean, I like the uniform, you know, everything, the uniform and the way he carried himself with confidence, you know what I mean? And I said, wow, you know, I want that, you know, I want that. So once I got into the military life, I found that, you know, my confidence, there's something about, I don't know, I was so shy before I went into the Marine Corps. Believe it or not, I was afraid of girls. Actually, I was, you know. But there's something about that confidence, that building of confidence, you know, that when I came out of the Marine Corps, I was no longer afraid. It's almost like whatever I was afraid of, that's what I would tackle head on first. I learned how to actually face my fears, you know, and challenge myself, you know, which I still do now in life. I do a lot of things that, okay, I'm a little bit afraid. Well, you know what? That's a good reason to do it. So I don't know.
So did you like the food? Did you like the social life?
The food was great. So was the social life. Yeah. There's a lot of things to do, even right on base. You don't really have to leave base. I mean, they got the movie theater, they got the recreation center, you know. If you like lifting weights or what have you, you can do that, you know. Got a football team, basketball team, you know. It's like, it's really, I consider the Marines, I'd never considered it a job, but it was a way of life. And it was a great ride. I enjoyed it every moment. And I met a lot of friends, a lot of people that are still right now even wonder what happened to, you know, I wonder what happened to Murphy, you know, man, you know, what happened to Private Buffy? Wonder what happened to him, you know, man, so many of the guys, man, Livingston, those guys, man, Ortiz, all those guys. Yeah. You know, sometimes I actually dream about I dream about the military now, and I'm always dreaming that I am re-enlisting, going back. Now, here I am, 63 years old. Now, I know I could never re-enlist, but I'm always dreaming about there's a date that I'm supposed to meet, and I'm like, oh my God, did I miss that date? And I'm dreaming that, and it seems so real, you know, that I'm re-enlisting. I'm late. I'm trying to get to the airport to catch this plane because I'm getting ready to go to boot camp. And then, you know, they say once you go through Marine boot camp, if you re-enlist into any other branch of service, you don't have to go through that boot camp. Now, if you're in the Navy, the Army, Air Force, and you join the Marines, like you re-enlist, you got to go through boot camp in the Marines. Because I remember in boot camp, actually, a guy that he was in the Navy. I think he spent about 4 years in the Navy. He was out of the Navy. And now he wanted to re-enlist in the military. He came to the Marines. And he was in boot camp. And it was like, he was saying, oh my God. He was saying, this is like so different from the Navy boot camp. But it was like, yeah, but once you went through Marine boot camp, any other branch of the military, if you enlist, you don't have to go through that boot camp. So that's one thing.
So after boot camp, where did you go?
Actually, what was that? I was still at Camp Pendleton. I went through boot camp at in San Diego, and like after that, I was in a little area by a little town called Oceanside. Yeah, it was at Camp, in part of Camp Pendleton, you know. It's nice. Spent a little time in artillery. Spent a little time at 29 Palms. 29 Palms is like the desert, basically, you know. I remember those days too. I remember being like 85 degrees at night, 90 degrees, almost about 100 degrees or whatever during the day, 100 and something. And at night, it get down to 85, 90 degrees, and you're running for your jacket because you're so used to the 100 degree weather during the day. You know, it's been it was a great experience for me.
So at any point did you ever leave the country? Did you go to a foreign country?
No, I didn't. I didn't. Wanted to.
So when you were in the Marines, they were still wearing the steel pot and not the Kevlar helmets, correct?
Right.
Correct. Okay. So what did you do for entertainment?
But for entertainment,
Yeah.
I actually for entertainment, that was one thing I did. You know, I ended up actually getting a little band together when I was in the Marine, a little on the side. You know, we didn't have duty or guard duty or anything on the weekends. We played little things or what, because I was a drummer at that point, and yeah, I got with some guys, a bass player, a lead player, and everything. I just do that, and also. I used to go to the pool, shoot pool, watch movies, different things like that. Swimming. That was always activities. That was always something to do. You know, I was never really bored. Put it like that. Of course, I don't know what bored in a sense is, because even when I'm bored, there's something exciting going on in my mind. My mind never stops. My brain never stops. So there's something exciting going on in my brain. If I close my eyes right now and nod, within 30 seconds I'll be dreaming. My mind never shuts down. I guess it does at some point when I go into that deep sleep that I'm not conscious of or whatever. But I never remember that. I remember this, you know, because sometimes, you know, I don't know. I can be doing nothing, have nothing to do, there's no activity, and instead of bored, I'm actually excited by the thoughts that's going in my mind. You know, my body is still, but my mind is not, you know. I don't know. That's.
Do you have any good stories that you can relate to us? A situation you were in, or one thing that sticks out in your mind that we can record about the service?
Yeah, one thing that sticks out in my, well, you know, I remember being on guard duty, and high-ranking officer, I forget what rank it was. I was guarding a commissary, like, and he comes up, pulls up in his car and everything. I halt him. He gets out of his vehicle and everything. I look at him and recognize this is an officer. I know, but my thing was, what do you do? Do you take him through the same drill you would anybody else? Or do you, or do you just say, all right, sir, and let him pass? That dilemma was in my mind, and I almost did. I almost just said, all right, sir, just let him pass. But some said, no, that's not procedure. So I made him do the same thing anybody else would do, you know. Lay your ID down, keep your hands back up so many paces, whatever, you know. ID, make sure you are who you are. I ran him through the changes, and I thought sure I was gonna get like chewed out, you know. This is high brass I'm dealing with, you know. And it turns out that he was doing that just to see if I would run him through the changes. Because what if it hadn't been him? What if it had been someone impersonating him, you know? So that kind of stuck out because I realized, okay, did right. But for a while, oh boy, I was nervous. I was like, because now I'm between the rock and the house. I don't know what I know it's him, but do I do this or do it not? That kind of stuck out in my mind, you know. Man. Yeah.
How did you find out he was testing you?
Oh, he told me.
Okay.
He told me afterward, you know. He told me afterward, good job, Private. Good job. I'm like, oh, wow, okay. Thank you, sir. But it was like, at first, I thought he was going to chew me out, you know. Yeah.
Did you have any additional duties that you were assigned?
No. No more than, like I say, artillery, guard duty, you know. I remember one incident, we were practicing, because in the reserve, every year you would go to the 2 weeks of summer camp, you know. We was out in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and doing artillery. Somebody put the wrong. They must have put not enough powder, not enough or too much. I think it was too many powder bags in the canister. The artillery round goes in there, and then it goes into the okay. The round landed downtown Lawton, Oklahoma. We was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma at that point.
How far was that?
It was about 6.5 miles. That was a wake up call. You always have to not only check, recheck, triple check, because no one got hurt, but that was scary. That you know, when we found out, we didn't know it until we found out, you know, because you don't really see the target that you're shooting at when you're doing artillery, you know. So it's all quadrants and everything, you know, and you're just going by the word of your forward observer, because they can observe where the rounds land at, and once your plot and everything is right, and your rounds are landing right, that's when you get the okay fire in effect. So evidently, this had to be during this was during the time of plotting everything, you know, getting your quadrants and everything set, setting your numbers and everything. That's what it had to be. I think that was too much of a charge or something. That's why downtown, no one got hurt though. That's the good part about it. No one got hurt.
What size shell was this?
This had to be. I don't know the size. It wasn't what was that round? This was from the 109 Hausinger that we were firing at that point. Yep.
And any property damage?
Just a big hole in the street. Big hole downtown Lawton, Oklahoma, you know. Yep.
Well, I'm glad no one got hurt, just the street. Do you recall the day your service ended?
Yes, I do.
And what happened? Where were you?
Here, in Joliet, here, Illinois. I think I had just gotten. I had been married a while. So I got very young. But yeah, I remember it. It was like, it's kind of unforgettable. You know, in a way, I was working, married, started a family, and still going to summer camp, still doing all that and everything. And still doing my weekend every month. I had mixed feelings about it, you know. I really thought about re-enlisting full time. On the other hand, I said, well, give it up, buddy. You know, you got family, you got this, that. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Even right now, I said, I wish I would have stayed in the Marine, because there are times that I think, man, what it would be like to just stay into the Marine, you know, for the full time, you know. Think about that a lot. Actually, I missed the Corps. Even at my age, I missed the Corps. But, you know, our lives are in stages, you know. We got this stage, that stage. Life goes on, we move on, you know. But, yeah.
So you were already home, so there wasn't no switching your mindset, like leaving the camp and coming home. You were already home. And was it an easy transition, just learning that your service was over?
Yeah, it wasn't hard. Yeah, there would be like, say, like at times when, you know, it's about that time of the month. You wake up on Saturday morning or something. You jump. You think you start, oh no, wait a minute. I don't. You know, you start to get dressed. You start to get dressed. You know, you're thinking you got to be out here on the west side. To be at the barracks or whatever. I mean, to be at the meetings, because we have the monthly meetings, and then you realize, no, you don't do that anymore, buddy. You know, so it took a little while to get adjusted to that, but a couple of times I almost did it, and then, oh, okay, that's right, I don't do that anymore. So, yeah. I took up fishing after that. Did a lot of fishing. Yes. Yep.
So that was the next question. What have you done since separating from the military? Did you resume a job or start a new career?
Well, yeah, I resumed my job. At that point, I've done quite a few jobs, because at that point, what was I doing? Well, at that point, I was actually working in manufacturing. You know, yeah, stuck with that, stayed in that and everything.
Did you go back to school?
I didn't. I thought about it, and then I don't know, I never did go back to school though, you know. Never did.
Did you use any of your military benefits?
I haven't. No, didn't use the military benefits.
Have you remained in contact or reunited with fellow veterans?
There's a couple of veterans here that I see once in a while. I run across them. But no, I never stayed in contact, you know. And actually, you know, I remember having all these addresses and everything. You know, because, you know, when you, yeah, man, we write to each other. You know, I write to you. You write my name. I guess we get out and get busy with our lives, and we might get a letter or two doing it. But then it just kind of like quiets down. Usually there'll be one or two good buddies that you had that you kind of like stick with, kind of like, you know, throughout a lifetime, you know. But you just see them but I don't know, like once in a while at this point, yeah. But I tell you what, I remember some of the names and I wonder what they're doing. You know, just kind of like, you know, because some of the characters was really, I mean, we were all young, and it would be interesting to see everybody now in their 60s or whatever, you know what I mean? 50s and 60s. And, you know, what are they doing in their lives, how things are for them. It would be interesting, you know. I wonder about that sometimes, you know.
So, wrapping up, how did your military experience affect your life? What did you do different after the military because of the military? Your training, your experience, and something change in you for the better? Or,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen times that didn't get the discipline to have the military, a lot of things I would have quit. if I had never been in the military, I don't think I would even. I hate to say this, I don't think I would even be married now, because you go through some things, you know, and there's an endurance. There's a don't quit, deal with it, work with it, you know, that mentality. Yeah, if it hadn't been for the military, I would have quit a lot of things that I didn't quit, stuck with. Now I'm glad that I stuck with, but I'm just saying, the person I were before I went into the military, I would have walked away from a lot of situations instead of dealing with the situations. You know what I'm saying? With it gave me, as far as raising my children, you know, it allowed me to know how to train them as me being the father, how to instill some of these things in them, some that don't give up, do this, do that, you know. Sometimes I would tell them, I say, well, yeah, it's a little hard, it's this hard. I say, yeah, but you know what, it's only temporary. So let's hang in there, you know. I say, you know, anything bad that you're going through, anything hard that you're going through, it's temporary. So, you know, but work at it, do it. Stick in there, don't give up, you know, stuff like that. All that came from the military. Yeah.
What message would you leave for future generations, like your children or anyone that wants to join the military, who will hear this or view this interview?
I would say, if you're going to join the military, I think joining the military is always a good thing, because someone has to be ready. It's like somebody got to stand guard, you know. Someone's got to be ready for what challenges this country might face from a, I'm saying, like, from a standpoint of, as far as our way of life. Our way of life might not be the best way of life, but it's our way of life. And we have to protect our freedom, the freedom to live our way of life and to exist the way we want to exist as a nation. And I think we have to be ready in case we're threatened by some foreign country or what have you, or enemy, or aliens from outer space, or whatever we face. We have to have people trained and ready to do their part, to do that duty, to protect. You know, it's like, and sometimes, you know, I know it can get frustrating, because sometimes, you know, when you, I talk to some of the veterans that was in combat and stuff, and they come back, and sometimes they look at the way, the things that people are doing, or the way they are treated, or and things like that. They say, you know, I did all that for this. But then they also say, but you know, it was worth it, because who knows if everybody just we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna protect, we're not gonna do this. Whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're just scrubbing the floors on a ship, whether you're just taking the garbage out, whether you're just cleaning the latrines, everything is important. Everything has to be done. Everything is important. I think the job of the person, if you're just pulling potatoes, I don't care what you're doing, you know what I'm saying? That is important. And you may think, well, that's not so important, you know, the guy over there, he gets to go out there with the M6 machine gun and shoot at things. You know, look, it's just as important when you think about it, because everything has to be done. You played a part. You know, you did what you did your best, you know, and then when you're an old person like me, I guess, you won't be sitting around saying, you know what, I wished I would have done this, I should have done that, you know, I wished I would have done, you know, you can say, hey, you know what, I joined the military, I was ready to protect my country, protect our freedom, our way of life, you know. So what if that person over there want to act like this or want to act like that? It doesn't matter, you know. That's what I said, you know.
Well, buddy, I want to thank you for your time and for your service to our country. And that's a wrap.
Okay. I appreciate this privilege.
Yeah, it was a very nice interview. Thank you. It was really nice.